Right?
Yeah, I'd much rather have Rand Paul. I'd rather have a libertarian who basically is kicking everything back to the states. But you know what? Trump is cutting a ton of regulation and doing a lot of states' rights stuff.
Trump is cutting a ton of regulation, and Dave frames it like that's necessarily a good thing. How about his slashing of key environmental regulations? What person who's not a coal or oil executive could possibly support such policies? Let's just look at a few examples from National Geographic. Quote, President Trump signs a joint resolution passed by Congress revoking the U.S. Department of Interior's stream protection rule. That rule, finalized shortly before President Obama left office, placed stricter restrictions on dumping mining waste into surrounding waterways. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt announced that the United States government would revisit the Obama administration's fuel efficiency standards for cars and light-duty trucks, the first step in a rollback of one of the U.S.'s biggest efforts to curb carbon emissions. Under Obama-era policy, cars and light-duty trucks would be required to have average fuel efficiencies equivalent to 54.5 miles per gallon by model year 2025. In its fiscal year 2019 budget and addendum, the Trump administration has proposed sweeping rollbacks to U.S. programs designed to study and mitigate the effects of climate change, as well as cuts to research on renewable energy. The Trump EPA has dropped once in, always in, a Clinton-era policy that aimed to lock in reductions of hazardous air pollution from industrial sources. End quote. Yeah, take that, burdensome regulation. The Trump administration has also eliminated financial regulations that were put in place to minimize the risk of economic collapse. As CNBC reports, quote, President Donald Trump on Thursday is set to sign into law the most significant rollbacks to financial regulations since the financial crisis. The legislation removes certain checks on financial institutions designed to help spot future crises, among other changes. End quote. And as the New York Times reports, quote, he also signed a memorandum that paves the way for reversing a policy, known as the fiduciary rule, that requires brokers to act in a client's best interest, rather than seek the highest profits for themselves when providing retirement advice. End quote. This idea that libertarians have that less regulation is synonymous with better policy is simply not accurate. These regulatory rollbacks under Trump will increase water pollution, air pollution, increase greenhouse gas emissions, cut research on clean energy, and make it more likely that an economic collapse will occur. These are not policy changes that we should be gushing about. I'm open to the idea that certain regulations are needlessly excessive and should be eliminated, but this careless approach that libertarians take, that classical liberals take, where they just advocate the broad spectrum cutting of unnamed, unspecified regulations, is lazy thinking and foolish policy. If Dave Rubin could name off the top of his head 3 specific regulations presently on the books that we should eliminate, I would be genuinely impressed. Let's cut regulations. What about regulations on meat factories? Should we just let them have whatever cleanliness and safety standards they care enough to implement? How will the majesty of the free market alleviate my food poisoning or E. coli infection? What about regulations on the quality of drinking water? Should we also eliminate these and hope that the water is somehow magically purified by the invisible hand of the market? How about pharmaceutical regulations? Let's just let any company sell anything they like and make whatever claims they choose to without any sort of standards or verification process? Sounds like a fucking terrible idea. I'm on Patreon. There's a link in the description if you'd like to support my content. I would really appreciate it. There's also social media links in there if you want to follow me there. I'm trying to build up some of those followings. I would really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe for more videos if you haven't already. Hit the bell, hit the like button, post a fucking comments. All that fun stuff that's standard on YouTube. You know the fucking drill. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.